Hello everyone and welcome back to episode 5 of No TV. I hope you're all doing really well and having a great sort of kick-off to the year. We just wanted in this episode to run through a couple of high-level questions that we get asked that hopefully we felt internally that you might benefit from, that might help you when you're sat down speaking with your clients to either better sell or better integrate a digital insurance solution into the program insurance that you arrange for them. The way that we work here is that internally we have an intranet system, and each time a coverage question or a question about how the policy would work or respond, we then file that and it's available to everybody within the company. Off the back end, that I can then see how many people within the company are being asked the same question more than once. So we've gone through our sort of top 10 questions over the last 2 weeks, and we've picked a couple that we think hopefully that will bring you the most value and help you maybe sell some more policies. Alright everyone, so this is a question that was put to us by a broker. It's one that I would say probably 5 or 6 years ago when I was first moving from my initial technology background more into broking, but I think it happened more and more. There was nothing in the press about network failures or hacking, so the question would come up a lot where we would be in a meeting and you'd be sat facing the CEO with somebody from the technology department in the same meeting, and the CEO would look to the person from the technology department who would say or imply that their systems or whatever infrastructure they put in place for the business as it's their job is totally secure and unhackable. Now, I'm happy to report that I think it's far easier now to see that there isn't any system that isn't hackable. There's been some famous quotes about it's not if, it's when, and I think that hopefully will help conversations move through this stage easier. So, but I think some things you can do. I think you can speak or work with the head of technology or the person whose job it is to oversee the security of the business to kind of show them how a digital risk solution can complement their continuity plan. It can offer them, so it's a good thing to talk through the sort of vendors that sit behind the solution, the type of people that would come in to manage the event. So kind of making them aware that this is more of a fail-safe should they have an event and it's only there to enhance and better what they're looking to do. It's in no way kind of undermining or implying that what they're doing isn't sufficient. So a lot of people that we deal with are trying to get these application forms. So we like most underwriting companies and underwriting companies that you work with, everyone relies on an app at present, and that comes with it both problems when you're trying to work with either a small company that's tremendously busy, so the CEO doesn't have time to complete the app, or it's a slightly larger company and then the application has to go off to 6 or 7 departments. So one thing that we do a lot, and it's not always for large companies, is that we love a conference call, and I really suggest if you can, you speak with anyone that you work with or any businesses that you're liaising with. If you're struggling to get the application form completed, then I would expedite it as quickly as you can to a conference call. 2 reasons why. It obviously brings it's easier, I think, to get everybody on one call, including the underwriters, and I think it allows you to not only go through the application so you can clear off any questions that and get the app sort of partly filled out. So it's just a matter of the CEO sort of putting the signature on it, but also it allows underwriters to ask questions that are outside the application. So questions and queries that they have that would then have been a subjectivity, which of course causes you more delay. So I'd certainly say that the initial alternative for us is that, and we love speaking to the insured wherever we can, is that either get them to attend a meeting with you, or alternatively move as quickly as you can to a conference call. The other things that are a good thing to do, that if you want to head to the meeting with a price, that maybe speak with us or one of your other providers, and just give them a sort of outline of what they do, how they do it, in what sector, what sort of size they are as an organisation, if you're already working with them, and then maybe going in with some sort of a very rough indication or a kind of outline of what the quote would be, I think is also a good starting point to help bring the process to a conclusion. Confusion between first and third-party risks it's an ongoing conversation that we have normally when people are first coming to look at cyber insurance, whether they're transitioning from a different sector as a broker or they're relatively new. And I think it's something that sometimes gets misconstrued. And I think the easiest way that I tend to explain it, or we talk about it internally, is really the first party versus the third party. And I prefer, instead of calling it first party risk versus first and third party risk, I tend to refer to it as first party cost and third party liability cover. So in the event that something goes wrong, the policy is triggered, it's actually managing the event. It's kind of the first cost elements that the business would incur shouldn't they have their cover. So it's what needs to be done to manage, stop the problem, and set about rectifying it as quickly as you can. Typically these are things like forensic investigation, business interruption, legal, having access to the right legal people. So it's really giving you access to vendors and helping you manage the situation as best you can and in the safest way possible and the least damaging way possible for the business. Then you look at third party risks, or as I mentioned earlier, what I would call them is third party liabilities. They're then the aftermath. They are then the things that you have to do as a result of the breach, and they can be anything from ongoing notification, through credit monitoring, through fines and penalties that are coming against you. So it's generally sort of handling the liabilities or the things that you've had to do as a result of the first party or the actual event itself. So that's I think a very clear way of defining the difference between first and third party risks.